Welcome to this Executive Briefing Explainer. If you're a C-suite executive or an IT director, you already know the cloud landscape has shifted dramatically. Today, we're translating recent strategic reports into a clear, actionable view of how cloud lock-in directly impacts your operational independence. Because right now, cloud strategy is no longer just a question of efficiency. It is a fundamental question of control, risk management, and strategic autonomy. Let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll quickly cover the digital sovereignty dilemma, the risks of vendor lock-in, the hidden innovation tax, why organizations are failing at cloud exits, the automation escape hatch, and finally, a concrete roadmap to multi-cloud resilience. All right, Section 1, the digital sovereignty dilemma, balancing autonomy and competitiveness. Let's start with the big macro reality Europe is currently wrestling with when it comes to digital infrastructure. 80%. That's right, a staggering 80% of European cloud and software spending currently flows straight out to non-EU providers. According to the European Software and Cyber Dependencies Report, this massive capital outflow creates some seriously significant strategic vulnerabilities. The intellectual property choke points, things like operating systems, cloud platforms, machine learning, are largely held by external firms. So we're not just talking about market share here, we are talking about a deep structural dependency. To tackle this dependency, researchers focus heavily on the concept of digital sovereignty. Now, to be clear, the source material doesn't frame this as complete isolation. Instead, it's defined as having the concrete capacity to design, develop, and scale the digital technologies needed for economic competitiveness and autonomous decision-making. Basically, it's about having the power to shape your own digital destiny without being totally at the mercy of sudden external vendor disruptions. And this highlights a core tension that is currently paralyzing a lot of decision makers. It's a massive balancing act, right? On one hand, securing digital sovereignty means you have to build up domestic technological control and resilience. But on the other hand, short-term economic growth relies heavily on importing the absolute best foreign productivity tools available today. The question the reports pose is, do you sacrifice immediate efficiency for long-term control, or do you prioritize today's growth at the expense of tomorrow's independence? Moving on to Section 2, risks of vendor lock-in, from macro geopolitics to micro IT headaches. Because as we all know, geopolitical shifts don't just stay in parliament buildings. They show up right on your IT balance sheets. Looking at the reports, we can impartially map these big macro geopolitical threats directly to your micro enterprise risks. On the macro level, the sources warn of jurisdictional exposure to foreign laws and even the threat of a geopolitical virtual kill switch. For an enterprise, this perfectly mirrors the risk of exposure to proprietary data formats and crippling SaaS dependency. Just as a nation might fear losing its critical infrastructure, an IT director fears the exact moment a critical supplier alters their terms, leaving the enterprise totally unable to integrate diverse cloud APIs or even retrieve its own data. The crucial point is captured perfectly in a quote from the source material. It says, "Sovereignty isn't just a political term anymore. In this context, it's functional, it's operational." And that is absolutely spot on. If your infrastructure can be suddenly disrupted by legal mandates outside your borders or vendor decisions entirely out of your control, you're carrying a massive operational liability, especially in privacy-centric industries like defense, finance, or biotech. Okay, Section 3, the hidden innovation tax, the cost of technical debt. Let's actually look at the financial mechanics of this lock-in and how it impacts your bottom line day-to-day. The sources identify a few specific mechanisms that actually create this vendor lock-in. First up is data gravity. Basically, your data accumulates so heavily with one single vendor that it becomes incredibly expensive to move. Add in highly restrictive long-term contracts, prohibitive data egress fees that literally punish you for extracting your own data, and finally, a total loss of agility. If your architecture is tied to closed standards, you simply can't easily deploy better technologies as the market evolves. As an executive, you really have to view this resulting technical debt as a hidden tax. It silently and continually drains your organization's budget and stifles your future innovation capabilities. The reality is, when integration between platforms becomes too complex, the economic gains the cloud originally promised are completely erased. You just end up spending your resources managing dependency rather than driving actual business value. Next up, Section 4, failing at cloud exits, why traditional assessments fall short. So, if lock-in is such a widely recognized problem, why do organizations consistently fail when they try to formulate an exit strategy? Well, research from ISC2 points directly to the failure of traditional methodologies. In the past, organizations leaned heavily on manual risk assessments. But today, those are just way too slow, incredibly expensive, and honestly, far too prone to human error. I mean, how can a manual audit based on spreadsheets possibly keep pace with a dynamic cloud environment where hundreds of virtual machines spin up in minutes and databases shift rapidly? It just can't. And the result is significantly delayed exits and intense financial stress. Which brings us to Section 5, the automation escape hatch, securing your exit strategy. This is the operational solution that every IT director and C-suite executive really needs to be looking at. Think of leveraging automated data portability as your essential escape hatch. It's literally a pre-planned emergency exit to ensure uninterrupted business continuity if, say, a vendor goes bust, they drastically change their pricing, or compliance rules shift overnight. You wouldn't build a massive high-rise without a fire escape, right? Well, you shouldn't build an enterprise cloud architecture without automated data portability either. To actually make this escape hatch work, you absolutely have to leverage automation. Automated assessment solutions can autonomously discover all those hidden and fragmented cloud assets you might have, totally overcoming the prohibitive delays of those old manual evaluations. And the sources heavily advocate pairing these automated tools with expert cloud security engineers. This is what ensures you adapt quickly to ever-changing compliance regulations and achieve true cross-cloud portability without just falling into brand new traps. All right, final section, Section 6, Roadmap to Multi-Cloud Resilience, a strategic path forward. Let's bring all these concepts together into a concrete, phased roadmap for your organization's operational independence. Based on the recommendations from the Future of Technology Institute, your phased plan should look something like this. Starting today, you need to comprehensively audit your current cloud dependencies to pinpoint those high-risk systems. In the near term, mandate local control for your highly sensitive enterprise data, ensuring it operates within safe, predictable jurisdictions. And looking long-term, the goal by 2030 is to phase your most critical systems over to fully sovereign European cloud solutions. Now, what's really interesting is how the CRRE issue paper outlines 4 distinct models for approaching this at a broader institutional level. Model 1 is the most ambitious, funding a complete end-to-end European tech stack. Model 2 is a bit more targeted, ensuring limited sovereign options just for highly secure data. Model 3 focuses strictly on building workable fallback options against weaponization. And Model 4, which is highly applicable to your enterprise strategy, involves a calculated mix of pursuing defensive investments while simultaneously building offensive capabilities. This brilliantly frames your IT strategy as a two-pronged approach. Defensively, you've got to protect your critical data and ensure compliance, basically maintaining that automation escape hatch and using sovereign clouds for your sensitive workloads. But offensively, you must build capability. You need to prioritize open source software and open standards so you avoid proprietary lock-in from the ground up. Ultimately, it's this offensive capability building that drives your long-term competitiveness. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one critical question, maybe something to bring up at your next board meeting. Look closely at your vendors and your underlying architectures. Is your current cloud infrastructure a strategic asset that actually empowers your operational independence? Or is it an operational liability, just waiting to be exposed by a sudden geopolitical shift? The time to start building your escape hatch is right now.